We're going to call the meeting to order. The time is 6 p.m. First thing on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. So the recommendation is that the agenda for the council meeting of October 21st, 2024 be approved as presented. Can I have a mover and seconder? Let's move in second, please.
That's it.
Moved by Councillor Lockett, second by Councillor Kirkby. You want him?
Yeah, unfortunately, since our last meeting, there is a concern that I have, and it may be answered by what's in the closed session, but it should be addressed, and there's a time factor involved. But if I may, this brings up the subject of how we're advised on what is in the closed session, because if we were better advised, neither one of these I would have had to bother council with. And I don't know if there's an answer there. You, sir, are advised of what's in the closing minutes, or are you not?
I don't get anything until you get.
I don't know either, right? Well,
so what we do, and then we had a discussion about this last week. We'll take a quick recess. We discussed that with the clerk to see if it allows you to be in closed session, and then we'll go from there.
okay, that's fair.
Okay,
Thank you.
so let's take a quick recess, and I'll let you two discuss that.
Okay.
David,
We have a bathroom.
At recess. It's one of my strongest subjects. Recess.
3 days, right?
That's for some of my old teachers watching.
You mean former teacher?
Former, yes, I could use that. My mom's not watching. Doesn't like that word.
The old word.
The old word.
Sean sings the old gray hair to two of the girls at the store all the time. But they have a song for him too, so. Just get them these orders and see.
I bought one, to be honest, but I think you could not to be seen. That's what I did. I just I bought some.
Okay. All right, can we continue? Yep. You have anything to do with that? Okay. All right, we're gonna resume the meeting now, and we had a mover and seconder, so all in favor in approving the agenda? Carried, thank you. Third item is declaration of interest. Does anyone have a declaration of interest tonight? Being none, we're gonna move on. We don't have any presentations, but we do have a delegation tonight from Jacob and Wayne Froget.
Sure.
Okay. The Save the Skate Park. So, sir, you guys are welcome to take the podium and the floor is yours.
And good evening. Everybody's having fun. So I'm speaking on behalf of Jacob and his brothers and his friends. I guess I just got a big mouth and made things more fun. So he started back at the beginning of summer after the skate park was taken out. And his friends were looking for something to do. So he and his buddies decided to, at the new arena, start doing the skate now. So what their initial was just a group of friends. People that were going by started noticing what was going on. So they started adding little bits of it, from free hot dogs to music being played. And they've always had a very strong ethics of leave it cleaner than what it was when they first got there. They bring their own equipment every single time. It's transported myself, or they have a couple people that sponsor them for it in the town. Unique Thrift Store, Dollar Bazaar, Jim's Taxi, Wall Rollers, which is my company. So what we end up by doing is we transport all their equipment for them up to that area, which is quite a bit, from skateboards to scooters to bicycles, ramps, rails, things like that. Other people do bring their own equipment also. So, and then it got to be, they were handing out free hot dogs. In my eyes, it was the best thing. There was a lot of kids that were going up there that were so hungry, they were hungry. So it all kind of tied in with our family beliefs of feed people all the time, random people. There's a lot of kids that go super hungry, but at the same time, it was something for the community, for kids, because there was really nothing in Prescott. Once the skate park was taken out, a lot of the kids had to travel for an indoor skate arena. They had to drive to Quebec just to go. That's a big expense for most teenagers. They would all pile in or pitch in, borrow somebody's vehicle, drive all the way up there, spend a day, come back. Well, you're losing revenue for the town of Prescott for just that alone. The skate park being gone while they were skating on King Street, down at the waterfront, on side streets, people were complaining. People were always yelling at them, or some people would go to the point of putting gravel on the road in front of their houses and everything else so that they could not skate. And it's actually kind of sad in a lot of ways. They're just looking for something to do. And in his eyes, he's had a lot of people come to him because of what he does. He's very generous. He's very open-hearted. He has his own store in this town that does Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, very hard to find collectible items for kids. Something that this town needed. He saw an opportunity. He did it. He did it on it. Backing from me. That's all on him. When the skate park came, he really put a lot of thought into everything he's doing. He has a lot of kids that come from very many towns. And there's a lot of stories that go with a lot of these kids. They don't live in the greatest homes. They don't have a lot of self-esteem, things like that. And they started to show up because they were accepted. He was teaching 5-year-olds, 4-year-olds how to skateboard. His buddy saw this. His buddy started doing it with him. So more kids started to come, more parents started to come. It wasn't a free babysitting course. It was everybody got into it, right up to complete strangers coming up asking what's going on. And that's where Bring Back Skate Park they want to do a thing where either a fundraiser or something to help contribute to bring the skate park. Now, he's been in contact with council members, emails, meetings, going to the rink, having open conversations with them. And it doesn't seem like there's a lot of revenue coming out of, and I mean, let's face it, a lot of the times it's revenue generated. But it doesn't seem like it, but there is a lot of revenue that comes from skate parks, competitions, events, things like this. And he has some very big ticketed people that have shown up. Jamie Bennett is a sponsored skateboarder. He came one weekend with 10 skateboard decks and gave them away to kids. And that attracted other kids to come the next weekend. Thrash Lynn is an eight-year-old girl from Mechanical who is a sponsored skateboarder at 8 years old. And she has shown up on his skate nights and helped with other kids learning. He's had, and this hits a little harder, he had a kid who was hospitalized with cancer, and he showed up continuously at all his skate nights. And he got hospitalized. The only thing that made him stay in the hospital for as long as he did was knowing he was coming back to skate night, knowing that his drive was to come back to skate night, because he knew it was held every Saturday night by Jacob and his friends. He almost committed suicide in the hospital. The hospital didn't know where to go. He tried multiple times. He tried to go outside the skateboard. And the hospital just did not want him. Finally, they just gave in to let him skateboard in the parking lot for 10 minutes and then he had to come back up to his room. That was in the negotiations. He hadn't been there. But as soon as he was able to come to a skate night, he was there, and he's been there every Saturday without fail. We have kids that are there every Saturday without fail. We feed every one of these kids anywhere from 5 to 15 pounds of hot dogs every Saturday night. 4 cases of water. They can take them home at the end of the night. We don't keep anything. That's our main goal behind all this stuff. And with that being said, it's now there's discussion. We know that there's equipment being purchased, which is fabulous. It's modular, set up in different ways. I know there's conversations about bringing it in as an after-school program and on Saturdays, which is perfect. My huge thing is I like to cook and feed people. He likes bringing community together. It gets kids off their phones. It gets kids out of trouble. It gets kids off of drugs. It sounds really weird because you think skateboarding and drugs all combined together. And maybe in some degree it is. But at the end of the day, the younger generation, kids that are 8, 9, my daughter's 9, loves going to these skate nights because it's a family unity. Everybody that's there is welcome. We've had kids dress up in Spider-Man outfits, head to toe, skateboarding, because they know they're going to be accepted for who they are. I have personally, my buddies from BOB, which is Burnout Boys, they show up. They're there to make sure everything's in order. Nobody can say anything. Nobody is going to pick on anybody. GOC, Guardians of the Children, that advocate for children, they show up. If a child has an issue at home, they can go talk to one of those members. And it's open arm. We've had many of those people show up. Many of those members show up. GOC is always very prominent at showing up for these things because it's children. It's fighting for children's rights. For Jacob, it's more so it's healthy. Gets him out of the house. Keeps him out of some degree of trouble. And a couple times now, because out of respect for the new arena, because the parking lot is full, usually on a Saturday evening from 5 to whatever time, there's cars parked there. He doesn't want any damage on the vehicles. So it's been put down to the Legal Avoidance Center, which unfortunately goes somewhat onto the street. But in that process, we've had a lot of the people in the neighborhood that love it. They think it's great. But we've had some people that didn't. And they called the police started showing up, shut down this event. And then the kids that are looking forward to this so much are now being taken back home and missing out on a night of skating with their friends, and being accepted and having a good time. I've had children come up to me and say, thank you. I mean, thank you for the hot dog because I didn't eat yesterday. We see it all the time. We know that there's a problem in this town for housing and homelessness. The food bank is usually pretty stocked, but it does go down sometimes. We have contributed to the food bank for those occasions. We've had those nights where we said, bring a can, something. And these are kids. This is anywhere from 5 up to 20 some odd year olds. They're bringing as much as they can to contribute to the community. So it's not that they're bad kids. It's not any of those kind of things. They're actually trying to achieve something that, you know, brings the community together. I feel that bringing back the skate park, like he's advocated so much, up to vinyls being made, hashtags on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, all those things, all the social medias. I mean, it does get some degree of shared all the way around. The skate family that does come, there's 3 of them. The daughter is 11 years old. She's the youngest pro skater in Canada. She's attended. That whole family's attended, and they have Orbit's Rare Collector bring back the skate park all over their vehicle, and it travels all over Canada to every single competition. And their big thing is hey, do you have an event in Rockville, or if you have an event in Prescott, we're there. We're helping you throw it. We'll advocate it like crazy. So there's so many willing kids that are trying to do something. But you took the skate park out. So now they're sitting at home. They're sitting on their phone. They're sitting on social media. They're doing whatever we don't want to look at and say, oh my God, that's absolutely horrible. They're doing it because he's the one that's trying to get all these kids together to be a little bit healthier, to have fun, to be accepting, to be just a community. And that's really not much more I can really say as far as that's concerned. That's the whole thing over down the state park. I wish he could talk because he could explain it a lot better than I could. I'm there all the time for him. I help him as much as I possibly can. My friends help him as much as they can because they understand what he's trying to achieve. And his brothers and his buddies, they have one guy who collects money, puts it in a bank account, saves it, and that goes to either buying hot dogs or buying cases of wine, buying vinyl, whatever it is. We got one guy that his brother, Memphis, who is very outgoing socially. He's a huge hugger, love everybody and everything else. And he's the guy that when you show up, he's right there. He's shaking your hand. He's giving you a hug. Here, have a hot dog. And that's his friend that are trying to do all this stuff. And as soon as kids show up in vehicles, they're right there. If one kid's hurt, they're all there helping that kid out. It is very close knit. And it's something that this town absolutely needs to bring back, is that skate park. And that's all I can.
Thank you, Wayne. I do know that part of our meeting tonight, we have a recommendation to approve a tender to start the process, phase 1 of the recreational complex. And part of that includes a skate park pad. So I think Councillor Kirby was talking to you that we've got a donation from the Rotary Club of Brockville for some things. So hopefully by this summer, you'll have an area to go.
And that's perfect. And I know that at one point there was communication and discussion, like there may be a possibility an after school program and Saturdays that they can go into the Rehabilitation Center to hold a skate night, continue on this weekly tradition that they've started. And it is growing. And there's a lot of kids. And there's adults there that can supervise these kids. But there's also, they're not there to supervise, they're there to watch over, they're there to be in here for children, basically. I mean, I can I know I can assure it. I'm there all the time. I try to be there every single time. I've missed 1 or 2 nights out of it. But due to the winter time and you don't ride in the snow, it's not just me. I have 15 buddies that will show up and be there. GOC, like I said, BOB, like I stated before. There's other groups, Bikers for Bikers, that advocate for children also that are there. We're just curious and we just have fun. They actually make us laugh probably harder than we possibly can make them laugh. And it's great to see kids just be kids.
Do you have a question?
Just a comment, just on the whole matter here. I mean, I was driving by the ACC on a regular basis throughout the summer and stuff, and that's when I first noticed Jacob and his group. I saw them on Facebook. I decided to stop by one night. The one thing definitely is they always seem to leave the place better than when they were there. I never, I did my due diligence and drove by later, and it was always picked up. The numbers did increase. There was a lot of kids there. And that was one thing that myself and my wife doing these drives picked up on, is that there was all walks of life, I would say, partaking in all age groups. And so the skate park is coming back. This council, I believe, is in full support of that. I believe you've had discussions on the rotary equipment with staff, and that's going to come back. It'll be modular, and maybe we could work something out where we see some winter skateboarding at the Leo, which I think would be acceptable. It's definitely a popular sport amongst a lot of kids that don't play regular organized sports. And I think that sometimes is a missed group. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
I
Councillor
was
Walker?
going to add to Councillor Kirkby. I drove by several Saturday nights as well, and everything was in order. Language was great. There was laughter and yelling, but just in fun. As it got busier in the parking lot, I noticed you were in the back corner a bit, and that was fine too. So I just want to echo what Councillor Kirkby said. Good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, well, everyone's going to have a chance. Councillor McConnell and Councillor Campbell.
Thank you. Thank you, Jacob and Wayne. And thank you for taking interest in the young at heart and of all ages. That's super, super important. Being a planner myself, and I run different organizations here in town, I know some of the struggles, and I know some of the good feel moments in your heart when you've helped somebody. Do you have a name for your organization or your?
Just bring back the skate park.
Just bring back the skate park. Okay, that's wonderful. How many?
EBSP.
There you go. Right, that's short. Now, do you ever look for different sponsors to help with food costs and like that? Just throwing some ideas your way, and anything that can help your organization thrive. I'm willing to help in any way I can. Yeah.
Councillor McConnell?
Thank you, Mayor Shankar. Just a little bit of history that you may not be aware of, so you don't think too badly of the last council that I was on that actually approved this rink. It was never the intention of this rink and this design to remove the skateboard park. The rink was supposed to go to the north of that, but unfortunately, the geotechnical soil stuff that they had to do, it couldn't go there. That's where it had to go. And that's when obviously the skateboard park had to go as well to accommodate it. But it was always the intention to replace the skateboard park. But the one question that I have for you is, have you been consulted about what you would like to see in the skateboard park? What is usable for you? I know you've been told what's coming, but have you had any constructive input? Because we've had one other situation with this rink where we were told what we should have, and that was for the canteen, and it turned out that wasn't workable at all. So it seems to me that people that are using it should have some input as to whether what we have planned coming is gonna be usable, because there's only so much space for
And I fully agree with what you're saying, 100%. Because the way that the last skateboard park was designed didn't have a floor to it. It was a one use. You went up a half pipe, you went down a half pipe. You couldn't do a pattern all the way around the skateboard park, you know, all the way around that set skateboard park. You look at the Brockville skateboard park, it's actually got a flow pattern to it. You can do that whole park in one run, multiple tricks, have a lot of fun with it. If you decide to do a different line in that park, it's easy to accommodate too. The one that was here previously in Prescott, I don't know who designed it, but they didn't ask a skateboarder to design it, which they should have done. I do know that she had, I'm sorry, your name eludes me.
Sam.
Sam had said, or had asked Jacob about what would be a nice skateboard park. There is a pro skateboarder right here in this town. And he should be approached, and he could come up with multiple designs that would be very beneficial for the youth and up to the very well-experienced skateboarders. It's a very easy cross-platform to do. There's street skating, there's high jump skating. There's multiple different skateboarding styles. For Prescott is probably going to be more so street skating and park skating, which would be very beneficial. There's a pump pad in Brockville. I'm sorry to say, for a skateboarder, it's absolutely useless. It's the pavement's way too rough. You have a tendency to wipe out, and kids get hurt badly. He got hurt because he didn't have a place to skate, and that's the truth of it. He was skating off the sidewalk and got 6 fractures in the ankles because he didn't have a place to skate. Rough sidewalk, bad landing. You can contribute a ton of stuff to that. And kids do get hurt all the time because there's not a proper skate place to go skating. So but he has been asked, we have driven around countlessly around this town to look at places where a skate park should be. I know we have reached out, Sam has reached out with Jacob, I have spoken to Sam. Justin and Jacob have spoken repeatedly with each other about these kind of things. We think it should be down by the water. It's a huge attraction. I guarantee you put an event by the water. The pop-ups, kudos to you guys, that was a fantastic idea. The skate park over there, it's gonna trip. And the only reason why is because if you put a competition, not only do we have Americans that come over every Saturday to skate, and we do, they come from New York to come skating on a skate park or on a homemade skate park with ramps and equipment that's old, beat up. That's what we can afford. We have motorcycle tires for ollie jumps. We have a rail that was cut out of something else. Pre-bought Walmart ramps, things like that. You build a really good skate park, you're gonna bring a lot of people, which generates a lot, which generates income, but it also generates tourism to the downtown core. Their skating community is insane. And like I said, when you have 5-year-old pro skaters, 9-year-old pro skaters, it affects everybody right across the board.
So that, if I may, this professional skater who is in town, who you seem to think can design any number of parks, can you, or have you provided that name to staff?
Yeah, Jimmy, that, and he has provided that. So that name
Sure.
has been brought up to Sam, and he's very well sponsored. And he's shown it, I think, like twice now with free skateboards and handing out to kids.
Okay. Thank you.
He also does a lot of the pickleball, sorry, I don't know the sport. I never even spent half a second.
James being over here.
Councilor Campbell?
Just a bit unclear about, so are you still at the ACCC, the new arena, or are you at?
No, we were over at the Leo Boyden.
That's because the parking lot wasn't big enough?
Well, no, it's because it's very high travel, it's high traffic area, and we don't want to disturb the hockey and everything
Okay.
else. Because where it's mostly lit is at the entrance. And a lot of the, what we're gonna call street skating, which is your curbs, your rails, actually your bicycle stands are used for street skating. So all that stuff is in that general open area at the very front of the entrance. And what ends up happening is you got too much traffic there. They don't want to hurt nobody. They don't want to get hurt. They don't want to damage vehicles. So we ended up they stuck it in the back corner, but it's not lit there. So Leo Boyden is a little bit more lit. Turn the Christmas lights on, it lights up the street and everything else, and they can do that, but now we're on a public street. And it's up to anybody, a resident can call in. It's a noise complaint. Kids are going up and down the street, kids are being loud, kids are young. And so if they show up, they're going home.
So right now you have you're not doing this on a Saturday night?
We did it last Saturday, but it's pretty cool. My truck idled for a better part of an hour with kids going in and out of my truck warming up.
They are, yes.
Okay, thanks.
Councillor Young.
Thank you, Mayor Baker. How big should a skate park be? Like a reasonable, like?
Honestly, like the size of this room would even be perfect, or
Yeah.
even a little bit bigger. Just something for people to do.
And it all depends on what you want to put into it. Now, if this was a competition room, it wouldn't work. You'd be a little bit. You can go on YouTube. You can go on Instagram, look up Skate Family. They're called Skate Fam on Instagram. They're the ones that drive around Canada with that skate park and everything else. They built a skate park in their house for the kids.
In their house?
In their house.
Should build one.
There's big screen TVs on one wall, their couches on another, there's a half pipe with ramps and everything else in their house. And their kids train 20 hours a day, almost, I swear. I mean, they're so talented, it's just amazing. But it is a very big.
We gotta go.
So there's potential, you have a lot of empty places around here indoors. There's a lot of potential that you can put a skate park in and hold competitions or events. And events are relatively cheap. I mean, we've been to events where the price was $20 for best trip. That was it. And it brought hundreds of people. So you get 5 or 6 people on an actual course doing something. Oh my God, you just did an awesome trick. Here's $20. You do a kickflip off that rail, here's $5. You'd be surprised how many people do it.
Start practicing. Our 10 minutes is up. I let you go a little longer.
Yep.
I'm bad for that, but it was very interesting and I wanted everyone to have a chance to ask you questions. And, like I said earlier, we are working on putting the skate park pad in, and until then, we'll work something out. We'll figure something. But, Sam's been in touch, so that's good. We'll keep in touch and we'll get something going for you guys.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thanks. There.
Take care.
Next on the agenda is minutes of the previous council meeting. So the recommendation is that the council minutes dated October 7th, 2024 be accepted as presented. Moving and seconded for that, Councillor Burton, Councillor McConnell. Any discussion on the minutes? All in favor? Thank you. No communications or petitions tonight. 8 is consent report, so we have the consent information package. You want to Councillor Kirkby?
Yes, I do. Through you, Mayor Shankar. I apologize in advance to the ladies that have to do all the work for these resolutions, but I'd like to pull out City of Coburg involuntary care of service for mental health and addiction issues. Thank you.
Anyone else? Councillor McConnell?
Thank you, Mayor Shankar. I always feel that we should be supportive of our neighbors. And Augusta Township has one in here as well. And quite frankly, I think it is directly related to the other one I was going to ask to have pulled out, which is the one that Councillor Kirkby already asked for, Coburg. Both of them have to do with mental health. And also, quite frankly, the one Legion and Granby United Counties in regards to the cabins that they're building in Brockville also has as part of that addressing mental health and addictions. Now, I'm not suggesting that we pull all these out and put staff to a lot of work, but I think a discussion next week that might encompass all of those things would be in order. So Councillor Kirkby has asked to have the Coburg one pulled out, and I think two that I just suggested could be discussed in conjunction with that without actually having them printed out. You follow?
I know so the United Counties one, we're already supporting that with joint services, but we can also pull it out. So do you want that one pulled out or not?
No, I think as I said, I don't think we need to actually pull out the other two, but I think if we should decide to make a recommendation in support of Coburg, it is also going to be supporting Augusta as well, and it could be worded that way. And again, the Brockville touches on that as well, so that could be part of the conversation.
Okay, let me just check here. With the pulling out the Coburg one, should we also pull out the Augusta one?
So through Mayor Shankar, what we can do is we can take a look and when we bring back number 8, we can always change. We don't have to necessarily support just Coburgs. We can use Coburgs and the counties as well as Augusta's to create kind of our own recommendation, right? For mental health and kind of pull it with
Okay,
what works. So we can bring that up to the next meeting.
That's what I was thinking.
okay, that sounds better.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Okay. So having said that, we can get. So all the items listed under consent reports minus the few that we take out, it is presented. Sure how we go.
That's well worded.
Moved by Councillor Burton, seconded by Councillor Christie. All in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay, 9 is committee reports. I don't see any. 10 is the mayor report. So since we were here last, we've had quite a few ongoing, I think there was like 4 or 5 of us. We did not discuss any council business, but we did sit together and there's a lot of people there. I think they told us that they average between 250 and 300 people a night. And it's all walks of life. It's not, it doesn't matter if you're hungry or if you're not. You go and they usually have like a silent auction stuff and they have a donation jar. So that's always good. Also on the weekend before was the Thanksgiving weekend was a firefighters open house. So I saw quite a few counselors at that and hopefully that was a good turnout. Lots of hot dogs. I know I had one that was very good. We had Miss Vicky's grand opening last week, which was good for downtown. On this weekend, they had a tractor pull. They call it the George Smith tractor pull. Now they're going to call it the Paul Fournier, another big advocate for the Y in Brockville. So there was a mayor's group that pulled the fire truck. It was fun. We did it last year, and it's nice to see all the mayors getting together for something like that. So that was very good. Also that day was King's Day in Cardinal. So I took that in because we have quite a few of the staff's children that are playing on the King's team. So it's always fun to watch them. You forget how small they are. You know, especially now the first group, the U10, U9, my goodness. Very cute, very excited, you know, all dressed up in their suits and ties and looking very, very sharp. And pickleball is going strong. What did that fella call it? Picked up ball? I didn't call it picked up ball, but pickleball has been very good. I've been a few times and there's 30 or 40 people there. We've got some great staff working there. So it seems to be very enjoyable, and I'm sure it's gonna be busy all winter, because now that all the outdoor courts are gonna be too cold or too windy, they'll be able to accept more people. And they've got quite a few packages there where you can buy a card or you can buy a membership. So I know everyone loves it. So we're gonna go around the table. We'll start with Deputy Mayor Young.
Oh, thank you, Mayor Shanker. October 8th, we had a BIA meeting. Lots of stuff going on this Saturday. There's going to be a window decorating contest with public online ballots. So the winner will be announced at the Pumpkin Parade on November 1st. Also, just as a precursor to Halloween Town, from noon to 4 p.m., we're encouraging local shopping, and there's going to be hourly draws of $50 with a proof of purchase downtown. And there's going to be costumed characters walking around the downtown, so you can have your selfie with them. What else are we doing? And there's going to be trick or treating with participating businesses. And then Halloween Town will be down at the pop-ups from 4 to 8. And there's going to be trick or treating there, a costume parade, a costume contest. There'll be a haunted house, pumpkin painting at the Creation Station, a Century Shed, and Halloween games. So a lot going on there. And then tomorrow night, the Economic Development Department has their Small Business Week forum. And so there's lots of stuff going on. There's Mayor Shankar with Bruce Wiley. There's other networking events and sessions, and there's an RSVP that you can sign up right on the Town of Prescott website. So we encourage everyone to attend that. And I think that is all for me. Thank you.
And that whole small business event is all free, right?
Yes, it's all free. Yep.
Hopefully we get some good turnout. Councilman Con.
Thank you, Mayor Shankar. Other than some work I did at the cemetery last week and a burial that I attended on behalf of the board, somebody has to go from the board. You basically touched on everything else I did. You were there as well. So that's very brief, and I'll leave it at that.
Thanks for not repeating it.
The same. I did mostly everything, and the same with Tracy. Was it October the 30th for all the activities?
Saturday, October 26th.
26th.
Yeah.
Okay.
This Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So besides everything that's been mentioned, I had a Board of Health meeting. That was very interesting. They are really deep into this merger, and it's moving along. It's a huge amount of work for the committee. So more will be out in the media about that very soon, actually. And tomorrow I have a St. Lawrence Lodge meeting, so that's all I can add.
Good luck there tomorrow.
Through you, Mayor Shankar, I attended a few of the events that you did, not as many. I saw you you were the lead pull on the truck. So just wanted to make note that Prescott was at the forefront during that event.
He was Rudolph.
But just a couple things going around town as far as public works and parks and services. So the downtown parkettes and the box trees have been removed, the street furniture, snow equipment serviced, gardens cleaned up. So the veteran banners are going up. There was a water main break on Victor Road last week. Town was quick to fix the leak. My understanding is that we're currently waiting for a part to come in to replace it, but they lost the hydrant, but there's one close, so there's no public risk, and just once again shows that our response time is great here in town Prescott. And other than that, I don't really have anything else.
Very good. I think, so there might have been a post on Facebook about water being shut off on Wednesday,
Okay.
but probably in that Victor Road area,
Yeah.
I would say.
Yep.
Josh Campbell? Oh, one sec, Matthew?
Yeah, if I could just add to that. So it's actually the valve for the hydrant that needs to be replaced. So we need to shut off the water to a larger area on Victor Road. So that will be happening Wednesday. The notices were hand delivered to each of the affected residents today. And then we'll also do a social media post tomorrow. But it just allows us to isolate a little bit further back so that we can change that valve and put everything back in place on Wednesday.
Great.
Thank you, Mr. Armstrong. Councillor Campbell.
Ditto to what you said, but just to add that at the fire hall open house, probably 70 to 80 people participate.
Okay, good. That's good. Tough weekend. It was a beautiful weekend and it was Thanksgiving. I mean, kudos to you, chief, and all of your firefighters to be there. Putting out the fires and little things that they're doing for the kids. So it's good. Councillor Burton.
Thank you, Mayor Shankar. A lot going on in the library. Early on years have unfortunately closed their doors. So they've taken up residence in our library on Thursdays. Just nice that we have a space for them. Friday mornings are still story time, so that's well attended as well. The Shakespeare meeting, there's actually one as we speak tonight. The majority could make it, so unfortunately I will not be attending the Shakespeare meeting tonight as I'm here. And the masquerade is November 2nd, and it's actually in our new grand hall right here at Town Hall, which is fabulous. I was checking it out again today, and it's fabulous in there. And staff were saying it could hold up to 125, around there, 125 or so. But yeah, and cornhole, there's a new cornhole league here in town. It's going to be run at the Leo Boyden Community Center, and it starts November 6th. So lots of interest. I think there's about 60 people interested in participating in the cornhole league.
Is it at night?
Yep, it's Wednesday night from 7 to 9 at the Leo Boyden Community Center, and it's a league, so you have to pre-register.
So, is there a cost, Leanne, to play?
Yes, it's $60 to play, and we play from November 6th to February 26th, I believe. So it runs about $5.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah,
It's championship on
absolutely.
TV.
Well, you never know. With cornhole, you can do a tournament and everything else, so.
I was watching it on
Could be
TV
pro.
today, actually.
Mhm.
It's
Great.
the people that are good at it, amazing.
Mhm.
So it should be fun.
This is a fun recreational adult cornhole league.
Fun.
Fun. Fun.
Thank you, Councillor Burton.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move into our staff reports. We have 6 of them tonight. The first one is staff report 78-2024, the Seymour Recreation Complex. The outdoor activities and amenities, the tender results. So the motion is that council direct staff to award the tender for the Seymour Recreation Complex outdoor activities and amenities to Ken Miller Excavation in the amount of $1,093,580 plus applicable taxes. Matthew, you've got the floor on this. Oh, sorry. I need to move and second it. Moved by Councillor Burns, seconded by Councillor Kirkby. Now you got the floor.
Thank you very much. So just as a reminder, this is kind of the first phase of the outdoor amenities and activities. It includes 2 full-size natural turf soccer fields, 2 tennis courts that would be painted for both or lined for both tennis and pickleball, 3 pickleball courts, a playground, basketball multi-use court, skate park pad, and fitness loop. So we did just a few weeks ago approve going out to tender, and then we just received the information back. In the report, you'll also see the equipment that Rotary Brockville has generously been willing to donate to our skate park. And just for information, our skate park will be about 48 feet by 66, or about 3,100 square feet. So it's of a reasonable size, and being able to support that. So we received 5 tenders that closed on October 3rd. They ranged from 2.9 million through 1.164 million. And each of them had a $75,000 contingency to highlight any items or to counteract any items that might end up costing more unexpectedly. So there are also provisional items, and that included the ball stop fencing behind the soccer poles that came in at $80,000. There was a kind of a negative pricing if we wanted to switch to asphalt from concrete for the base of the skateboard park, and then the surfacing the tennis and pickleball courts with the normal paint that you would normally see instead of it just being black asphalt is approximately $45,000. So all told, if you were to keep the skateboard park as it is with the concrete, eliminate the goal stop fencing, and proceed with the painting of the tennis and pickleball courts, then it would come in at $1,093,580 plus applicable taxes. So from an overall complex, at the end of that, we would have obviously the Land Charter and Community Center with the single pad that is capable of running 12 months of the year, walking track, community room, fitness room, mini sticks area, seating on both sides and parking for 250 plus vehicles. The 2 sides, full-size soccer fields, tennis and pickleball courts, as well as playground, basketball, multi-use, skateboard park, and fitness loop. One of the things that we also talked about is perhaps keeping the lobby open in those summer months to be able to support those spring, summer, and fall activities, so that perhaps the canteen continue to run, but you can also use the washrooms and that sort of thing. And on rainy days, then if you need just to get out of the elements, that you could be able to go in there as well. If you did want to run tournaments and that sort of thing, then we can open up the change rooms at the Land Charter and Community Center and be able to support that. So from a financial perspective, just trying to find where that ended up. So when we originally kind of envisioned the outdoor area, we didn't have a full scope. That scope has since been refined over a couple of years with council and bringing to what we have today. And so with the 1.1 million, we would search out for donations, sponsorships, and then the remaining amount would be supported by the reserves or debt financing. Things that weren't included in the contract were benches, bleachers, the soccer goal posts, all of which would be sourced separately and on top of the 1.1 million. So more than happy to answer any questions there might be. And that's the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Armstrong. Any questions for Mr. Armstrong? Mr. Burton?
Thank you. Thank you, Matthew, for your report. It's pretty exciting that we're on the first phase of the outdoor facility. And I just wanted to do a shout out to the Rotary Club and the town of Perth. Like, thank you so much for being so generous in their donations. And I'm sure, I'm not too sure, but there might be some sponsor opportunities if people want to sponsor a certain part or fundraise. Like we just had Jacob here, Jacob wanted to do some fundraising for the skateboarding park. I'm sure we could accommodate some of his ideas maybe down the road. But I'm sure there's sponsor opportunities if somebody wanted to name a soccer field per se. I mean, there's lots of opportunities here. So, but it looks great, and it's pretty exciting for our town. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Burton. Councillor Lockett?
So Matthew, like Councillor Burton said, we just had Jacob and his father here. So replacing the skate pad with asphalt instead of concrete, is that something that is what they want or what they need?
Yeah, so the preference is concrete when it comes to skate parks. It's smoother. I think he mentioned, in on the pump track, they currently have the asphalt, and it tends to be quite bumpy. We went back and forth with the field designer and said that really the preference tends to be concrete when it comes to skateboard. It's just easier to ride on, that sort of thing. That being said, we'll be more than happy to confirm with Jacob and the group, and it's not something that's shall I say set in stone, and certainly we can go with whatever preference they would prefer.
I think that's a good option to check with them, because the last thing we want to do is get something in there and then have to take it out in a year.
For the sake of $9,000.
Yeah.
Is it, in your report, we're going with asphalt instead of concrete?
So no, in the report, it's kind of weird. So in the base, and what we're suggesting is that we stick with concrete.
Okay.
If we were to go to asphalt, and we're not recommending that at this point, is that it would save $9,000.
Okay. Sorry, I misread that. That's good. Councilor McConnell, and Councilor Cook.
Thank you, Mayor Shankar. Matthew, when it says a skate park pad, is that exactly what it is? Just a flat concrete with no, whatever you want to call them, accoutrements?
That's correct. So the skate park pad is simply the flat, and then in the report itself, there's a picture of the actual equipment that you put on top of that, and that allows you to do those tricks and things like that. So really, the modular items, there's kind of a ramp at one end. There's what they call a table in the middle that you can do certain tricks on, and then there's another kind of half pipe ramp at the other end, and then there's some other things that you can move around, such as rails and that sort of thing. So it's really kind of what you want to make it. And I think what they were talking about is the old park was kind of just a bowl, and so you could only do certain things when you have a bowl, whereas this provides you more options when it comes to actually street skating, that sort of thing, where you do have those ramps as well as the table to be able to do the tricks in the middle.
If I may, but included with this quote that we have, none of those other things are there. It's just the cement pad plus whatever we got donated from Brockville. Do I have that right?
That's correct. And there's a picture of what's being donated from Brockville in the report.
Okay, well, I have to wonder, the gentleman said that the park in Brockville was not of much use. I wonder if we're getting the parts that weren't of much use to them.
I may.
Oh, Councilor Kirkby?
If I may, through you, Mayor Shankar. I don't think that's what he was saying. What he was saying is the old design here wasn't as skate friendly, coming from a skateboarding background myself at one time. This setup is modular. So what it allows them to do is lay out a flow or a track, which then can be moved around and altered. It's probably the most preferred method of how skate parks are being put in municipalities now. And when I talked to Jacob and we talked about the equipment because it's not in use currently up there, they've taken this equipment out and they're storing it. He knew that equipment and was happy to hear that it would be coming here, because it's more of a street skate, where the other one was more of a ramp skate is what we had before. This is more of a free flow, freestyle kind of skateboarding, which is more, it allows all ages and all skill levels to participate. So honestly, the concrete is the way to go, just to be clear. And this modular is a great start, and nothing, in my opinion, says that they can't do some fundraising and get some other equipment if they wanted. But I guarantee the equipment that will come, they'll put to good use right away and build from.
Okay, that's good. Thank you.
That's good. Thank you. Councilor Cook?
Yeah, through you, Mayor Shankar. I just had a couple questions and nothing. Matthew, as far as the quote difference, is there items, and I think it's great, by the way, because it's local, right? So nothing against that. Is there stuff that is there maybe an explanation of the price difference, or is it just they all had the same formula and here's what you bid on, which I believe is the case? I'll let you answer that part first, please.
Certainly. So what we generally find is, and all of the tender or prospective tenders had the exact same set of specifications, exact same requirements, that sort of thing. So the first one we opened was the 2.9 million one, and that kind of shocked me. What we kind of learned later on is that's not their bread and butter. It was something that they wanted to try, and not something that they would normally do. So when we took a look at the other ones, excuse me, running between kind of the 1.7 and the 1.1, what we started to also look at is location. How far away would they have to come from in order to do some of that work? And so obviously the one that's the lowest is the one that's closest. And really we found that tends to be a really big driving force, is that if you're not bringing all of your staff and whatnot in from and all of your equipment from other places, then that certainly saves, excuse me, on those overall costs. So I think that's really what we see is being the difference. And when we started taking a look at and breaking those down, then really the base price was only a difference of 1.4 versus 1 million, and then 182,000 versus 116. So again, a little bit on the lower end. And I think the particular proponent that is the lowest has done quite a bit of work with the town and been very supportive from a recreational standpoint. So they really want to be involved and certainly sharpen their pencil to be able to make that happen.
For you, Shaker. Thank you, Matthew. I just wanted to make sure that the public's aware of that at times. I think public has a lot of things to say that's not accurate. Everybody sees the same tender. And it makes sense that the closest company has a lower bid, and it's great when we can go with a local company that we already work with on a regular basis. Just one question on the contingency. So does that mean, Matthew, the 75,000 is there if needed, but we don't go over? Is that correct? Or am I wrong on that?
So really we put an amount in there for any unforeseen. So let's say when we go to install something, we end up having to remove rock. Then if that wasn't part of the original tender, wasn't foreseen, then there would be a change order if it costs extra to remove that rock, that sort of thing. So we've done all of our geotechnical. We're not expecting to find any of those types of things, but let's say if we wanted to, when we get down to picking the actual basketball hoop, we have one in the specification, but if another came along that had a couple of bells and whistles and was a little bit more, we might opt for the slightly better one. Those are the types of things that the contingency really covers, and anything that may have been missed in the specs, so that we're not having to come back and say, oh, we didn't foresee this, or this occurred, and be able to make those type of adjustments.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else have any questions? All right. Thank you, Matthew. I'm going to call the question. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay, next up is staff report 79-2024, the municipal complaint policy. The motion is that council approve the municipal complaint policy as outlined in staff report 79-2024. Mover and seconder, Councilor Christie, seconded by Councilor Campbell. Ms. Velkamp, you have the floor.
Thank you. For you, the first reading of municipal complaint policy came before council on October 11th for initial review and feedback. As stated at that meeting, an approved municipal complaint policy enables the municipality to promptly and effectively address service delivery complaint raised by members of the public in an approach where all complaints are dealt with in a fair, respectful, transparent manner and as quickly as possible. Following the discussion at that meeting, The new policy incorporates the use of the municipal policy GA 100-31, which is handling unreasonable customer behaviors, which was approved by council on July 15th, 2024. It outlines what is considered to be unreasonable behavior, the appeal process, and the ability to appeal to the ombudsman. And then based on the discussion, in order to provide some clarity, a section entitled Solution Development was also added. That is included in the report, and it outlines the process for complaint escalation when a solution is not attainable at the department head or the chief CIO level. So in the report, you'll see this very big diagram explaining how the process would be in the formal complaint file. It comes into town hall, the complaint is forwarded to the appropriate department head. If the complaint needs to be and cannot be solved by the department head, it then rises to the CIO for resolution. If that resolution requires some sort of council approval, for example, a policy change, a bylaw change, or any kind of budgetary or monetary impact, that would then rise to council for approval. That, based on the feedback, that was kind of how staff had tried to incorporate it into the policy. The policy with changes were included with the report, along with the form that would be used for formal complaints. If there's any questions, I'd be happy. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Velkin. Questions from Ms. Velkin? Councilor McCon?
Thank you, Mayor Shanker. On page 26 of 105, number 4 of this document, the second paragraph before the bottom, actually it's one sentence. It says complaints regarding the conduct of closed meetings are to be submitted in writing and will be referred to the Ombudsman office. I don't understand exactly, and from the puzzled expression on your face, I don't think you really comprehend what that means or how it would be used, or can you explain that to Lindsay, please?
Yeah, so through you, Mayor Shankar, any person can put a complaint in. So if, per se, an individual is watching this meeting and we move into closed session and they don't feel that we moved in for the proper reason, or if they feel that something was discussed that shouldn't have been discussed, they can open a closed meeting investigation, and that goes through the ombudsman. And then staff works with them. They provide all the information that's required, and then they put out a ruling. Those rulings are displayed online for the public to see. So at any point, you can go to see any rulings that the ombudsman have made in closed meetings.
Okay, so that is in regards to non-members of council, not members of council. Okay, well, that clears it up. It just, I couldn't understand it otherwise. Thank you.
Anyone else?
A comment, if I may. It's not a criticism. The complaint that I had the last time this came to council, I believe that has been reasonably dealt with by inserting council. Not exactly the way I wanted, but it is in there, so it can come to council if it maybe it should maybe be the way to put it. But my only comment here is, given where the rest of, or where, be careful what I say here, given what a discussion that will be coming later in this meeting concerns, to me, this should be shipped off to the next meeting and not voted on tonight. I think the discussion to come could very well be of value in how we look at this particular report. So to me, I would think it should be postponed to our next meeting approval. Exactly the way it is, unless in the further discussion somebody has another idea.
Through you, Mayor Shankar. And Councillor McConnell, I kind of agree with what you're saying, but think the appropriate time for that would have been when we approved the agenda. Am I wrong or am I right on that? Is that we should have asked Ben for that to
That's
be pulled out.
Tried to.
So wanted to defer, we could defer, I'm not quite sure what was it a piece from the discussion from last week that you feel wasn't included in the policy?
No, I think you did. I was concerned, I said I wouldn't vote for it flat out unless somebody lodging a complaint had the ability, if all else failed, and they got no, or whatever, to appeal to council for a final decision. And you have inserted something in there that doesn't actually say that, but comes close enough to that that it is acceptable to me. But what I am saying is that given another discussion that we are going to have this evening that I would say has a direct relation here, I would rather say put this off until next week, because if this is approved, then it's approved tonight. And they very well have a bearing on the other discussion. And I hate to seem so vague, but I think.
I'm just gonna ask a procedural question. If we approve this tonight, does it go into motion once we approve the minutes in the following meeting?
So through your motion, it would be approved, we would put it in place for tomorrow, or as soon as we get the format, that's the process. So if these are in regards to past concerns, the policy wasn't in place for past concern. But
Does that help?
so
I may.
through your motion, or future concerns that come in starting tomorrow,
Would
we would
have-
have them go through this policy.
Okay, well, it's not going to affect the discussion this evening then. Okay, well then I'm fine, let it go.
Okay. Anyone else? All in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay. Next is 12.3 staff report 80-2024 municipal asset naming policy. The motion is that council approve the municipal asset naming policy outlined in staff report 80-2024. Ms. Felkamp, this is yours. Isn't that?
So through your motion.
Oh, geez, I know, sorry.
I was gonna-
Council Burton. So these little penalties. Council Burton. Thank you. Oh. We got new reading
Monday.
here.
There you go.
They're gonna say classes.
Thank you, now it's all yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Shanker. Again, the municipal naming policy came before council at the previous meeting, October 7th, for initial review and feedback from council. As stated at that meeting, a municipal asset naming policy provides clear guidance to council, staff, the public when naming facilities and assets within the town of Prescott, and when naming opportunities arise, as Councilor Burton said earlier, perhaps sponsorship or opportunities with our new recreation complex. That would outline how suggestions are submitted, reviewed, and considered. Some of the changes that were made based on the discussion included the removal of the word deceased, so that anyone's name could be put forward, as well as the addition of municipal staff in the inclusion under eligible criteria on the user list. Based on the feedback that we received from council, staff felt that was most of the feedback that was received. So if anything that was missed, please let me know. Included in the report was the policy along with the naming suggestion form. And that's my report. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to.
Thank you, Ms. Falcon. Any questions on this new policy? Councilor McConnell?
Again, thank you. In all honesty, I don't think we need this. I don't think council needs guidance in naming things. Since I've been here, we named Riverwalk Park, we named Fishel Drive, we named the Eddie Ando Public Works Facility. Council made those decisions. It was discussed by members of council, by our own ideas or ideas that were mentioned to us. The only naming that we have done lately is in regards to the rink and the playing fields. And I think from what we have been discussing here, if somebody wants to kick in a bunch of money to have a soccer field named after them or a ball field, then that is a money changing hands type of thing, which I think is different. And I think everybody can understand that. But handicapping, which is the way I look at this, future councils with something that I don't believe they need is not really what I'm in favor of. So I'm not in favor of going ahead with this anymore. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? I think it's good to have, yes, welcome.
Through you, Mayor Shanker. I did just want to point out that it's not just for council, it's for staff and for the public as well, so there's a policy in place. And then for the future down the road, it's good to have a policy so when new staff come in, new members of council, there's something to fall back on. So not meant to handicap, just have something in place. And then also council is always you're approving policy. So at any point, if it needs to change, council has that ability to come back and make those changes. So it is a policy until that needs to change, and council has that policy.
It's like a living document, right? So it can change. It can change with each council.
Giving us guidance to fall back on.
Yeah. And we have a few naming opportunities coming up, so. Said that. Anyone else? I'm going to call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Okay. The next one is staff report 81-2024. It's a fire department report for the third quarter of 2024. This is for information only, so I don't need a mover in a second. So Rennie, Chief, sorry.
Thank you, Richard. So in front of you is just our third quarter report. Continuing on with our NFPA training and certification, we're going to have an online hazmat course coming up soon. We're going to see about doing some training for ice water rescue, which will be obviously in winter time. So we have to time those out a lot earlier. And then the Ontario Fire College calendar comes out fairly soon too. So we have to try and make sure that we are able to get seats for those courses. And as you can see with the department-wide training, we've used the CCAN several times in this third quarter. And even though it's tomorrow night, it's extrication, but it's also in here. So we do that as well. And we'll be just at the recon in the back. We've got some truck vehicles there so we can do some extrication. So that's excellent. I spoke with our Rosenbauer facility today, and they're thinking hopefully end of November. So I spoke to them. So unfortunately, it will not be here for parade, but we don't want one with three wheels rolling in and not be completed. So our annual commercial inspection have been completed on our apparatus, so we're good to go. And our air system has been tested and completed as well. And then I just wanted to touch on some years of service. Deputy Chief Robert Gilmore has 39 years as of July. So very well job for him. And firefighter Gord Brooks has 7 years. And if you, so we're very pleased with how we've got, as I think I said last year, about veterans that we have and some mid-level and then some of our new recruits too. So it just always breathes life into the company. And as you can see, just our events, July, August, and September, very busy supporting events or having some events on our own, and always thrilled to be able to support the public and any events that are going on. And as you can see, September's been very busy for calls. We had 30 in September, no reason or rhyme. And I'm looking right now, as of today, we have 183 calls so far this year. So we're probably going to hit 200. So, but I'd be more than happy to answer any questions.
Councillor Kirkby, then Councillor Burton. Go ahead.
Me, Mayor Shankar. I just wanted to call it, I believe there's a Halloween dance happening. I seen it advertised and I heard some people in public actually talking about the excitement of having a Halloween party that's open to the public. So just wanted to,
Yes, this Saturday night, October 26th.
is there still tickets available?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, so you can either get those from the fire hall, or I think it's on Facebook.
Perfect. Thank you, Chief.
Councillor Burton.
Thank you, Mayor Shankar, and thank you, Chief. I just wanted to just make a couple comments. Your volunteers and your staff are very, very busy doing their online training and their physical training. And they're also preparing for our Santa Claus parade.
Yes.
Let's put a plug in there. So when's our Santa Claus
So,
parade?
November 15th, that'll be Friday night.
Yep.
So again, hopefully the weather's good for us, and looking for, I think they said maybe 5 bands, which will be very well done. And of course, that's the costs for that. So obviously we try to raise some funding for that, but yeah, we're very well looking forward to that as well. And thank you for noticing that.
Yeah. That's, well, I mean, everybody's already talking and your social media is just blowing up about the Santa Claus parade. And I know it's just, November's just around the corner.
I know.
You know, and Halloween's just around the corner, but as soon as Halloween's done, boom, right? You start talking about Santa Claus and stuff like that. So, yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there.
I know the night parade is very well enjoyed by lots of people. A lot of people come to the area. I know other communities now have adopted a night parade. No, I'm not saying that we started it, but it looks good. We do it best. Councillor McConnell?
Thank you, Mayor Shankar. When you talk about the Halloween dance, music, noise, I know there was an intention to do sound dampening in your room. Has it been done?
Yes, so if you were going to have a council meeting there, it's not as echoey now. I mean, it's not as bad as it was, put it that way. But insofar as having a party in there, and if you were outside, it wouldn't be shaking the windows or anything.
So I was more interested in shaking my ears the last time I was in there for something. It was wild.
Yeah, it was quite echoey. I think that was the tri-county, tri-council meeting that you had. So now they are about that size going around the wall, and it does not hold it.
Good. Good, thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you, Chief. That's great. Okay. 12.5 is staff report 82-2024, the housing enabling water systems funding. So the motion is that council directs staff to submit a joint application to the housing enabling water systems fund for the expansion of the wastewater treatment plant, upgrades and upsizing of the pumping stations and forced main to the wastewater treatment plant, and the extension of water and sewer mains into Augusta Township. I need a mover and a seconder. Councillor Kirkby, Councillor Campbell. Matthew, this one's yours. Oh, yeah, I did it right. Okay. Jeez, I'm worried I didn't do it right.
Well, he's not doing it right.
You're muted, Matthew.
I was just testing everyone to see if I was. So if you remember in the spring, we did submit an intake or an application under intake number 1. The province invested 970 million as part of intake number 1, and due to the high demand, they created an intake number 2 of 250 million. So we went back through our application, took a look at it from a sober second look, and are continuing with really very similar intention from the wastewater treatment plant perspective, but Augusta would prefer to modify how they're going to run the water and sewer into Augusta. And instead of going so far down County Road 2, that it would be going County Road 2 to Merwin Lane and then heading north
Thank you, Mr. Armstrong. Yeah, so that number 16,000 is the number of dwellings divided into the amount that we're applying for, correct?
Correct. And so also if so that's the total cost of the project, how much we'd be applying for is approximately $24 million. And so if you divide it by the 2,000 dwellings, then you'd be at about $12,000 per dwelling for just the funding portion, or 16,000 in total.
Very good. Thank you. Questions for Mr. Armstrong? We've beaten this one to death. I know we did this one this summer as well. Okay, I'm going to call the question. All in favor? Carried. Thank you, Mr. Armstrong. Okay, the next one is 12.6 of staff report 83-2024. The Community Sport and Recreation Infrastructure Fund application. The motion is that council directs staff to submit an application to the Community Sport and Recreation Infrastructure Fund, Stream 1, repair and rehabilitation, as outlined in staff report 83-2024. Can I get a mover and seconder for discussion purposes? Deputy Mayor Young, Councillor McConnell seconded it, and Samantha, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor Shankar, through you to council. The information supplied in the background section of this report came directly from the Community Sport and Recreation Infrastructure Fund, Stream 1, the Repair and Rehabilitation Program guidelines. The purpose of Stream 1 is to extend the lifespan of existing community sport and recreation spaces and improve local programming and accessibility features to meet the community needs. The community sport, let me back up a minute. This fund is a $200 million capital funding program. It will be delivered over 3 years and through 2 different streams. So Stream 1, repair and rehabilitation, and Stream 2, rebuilds and signature new build. Eligible applicants can apply for project funding between $150,000 to $100 million through Stream 1.
This is a cost sharing program where the provincial government will contribute up to, where eligible applicants can request up to 50% of eligible costs for the project. After careful review of the program guidelines and reviewing the town's strategic plan, it is recommended that an application be submitted for specific upgrades to the Leo Boyman Community Center to grow our usage as a multi-use indoor recreation facility. The outdoor amenities at the Seymour Rec Complex would not qualify for this grant under Stream 2 because it has already received federal and provincial government funding through the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program, Community Culture and Recreation Funding Stream Ontario. So in an effort to extend the Leo, as we continue to see an increase in usage for indoor recreation, based on its current use and feedback from users, it is recommended that council consider several upgrades. The main being covering the existing concrete floor with a specialized sports floor to improve player safety and performance for indoor sports. Upgrade the current lighting system to ensure better visibility. Installation of retractable netting, not only to increase the versatility of the space, but also to enhance the safety by containing equipment. And then converting, if feasible, the first aid room into an accessible washroom. If that's not feasible, taking a look at the facility itself to see where it would be possible to implement an accessible washroom in the facility. In 2024, up to October 17th, when this report was written, the Leo has had 1,216 and a half hours utilized so far this year. That makes up 358 book sessions. Our current fall schedule has bookings Monday through Saturday and several Sundays along the way. Ultimately, what these enhancements will do will transform the facility to reach our mission, our vision of a vibrant place for recreation, support healthier lifestyles, and meet the strategic objectives of council by expanding recreation and leisure opportunities and strengthening community health and safety. In terms of alternatives, council could decide to modify or decline this recommendation. And in terms of financial implications, the intent would be to apply for a maximum project cost of $400,000, with the province covering 50% or $200,000. This would limit the municipality's contribution to $200,000, and that can be supported by the use of reserves, donations, and sponsorships for the facility. Just as a point of note, if we are unsuccessful in this grant application, the same project could be applied for under the Trillium Capital Grant, which has a maximum grant amount of $200,000. Environmental implications included continuing to increase the utilization of the Leo. That is my report. Chief, I'm happy.
Thank you, Samantha. The one thing that jumped off the page for me was how much it's being utilized now compared to last year. Like we still have, 2.5 months to go and we're almost double the usage from last year. So that's fantastic. Kudos to you and your staff for filling all those sessions, and using it to the best of its ability. I do have one question though. If let's say we're successful and we put in the floor, is that floor, if we have the trade show there, or if we have roller skating, is that floor going to be effective?
So there are different types of flooring options to consider. However, of the two that have already kind of been researched, the recommendation by the companies has been to, for instance, the LG trade show is an annual event that we have there. That does bring heavy vehicles into the facility. So the recommendation would be to have 3/4 inch plywood underneath those vehicles that are sitting for any length of time to protect the floor.
Councilor Kirk.
Through you, Mayor Shankar, just kind of on the same note. So Samantha, would this limit, let's say, the skateboarders from using that floor, or?
After that presentation, I have the same question.
Yeah.
So I think that is something that we can certainly look into.
I think a floor would be great as long as it provides use to all versus, and I know we have a concrete floor there now and it probably could be better, but I would hate to put something in there that's only too user specific. But outside of that, I think this is great. I hate to admit it, but losing the Leo Boyven Community Center has almost turned into be a blessing in the sense that we've gained a space that we never had. And kudos to staff on filling it. I just hope that we continue to fill it and make good use of that space that we have for all community members and groups. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Campbell.
Through you, Mayor Shankar, same question about the skateboard group. I personally think just leave it concrete, because if we're gonna get into roller skating, or I know it's hard to play pickleball on concrete, but I think it would be more versatile for a lot more people if it was state concrete. The other question I had was, we had another delegation from the Sunday night concerts, and they had asked for sound proofing in there, maybe what you did at the fire hall. They were talking about taking down the glass and everything, but we don't want to really do that because we have lots of balls flying around and you don't want to have to chase over the boards to get those. But I just remember them talking about the acoustics in there. So if it could be part of the grant or researched for that.
The only hard part with that is, it's so weather dependent on a Sunday.
No, I just wonder if it could be for anybody. The acoustics would be better, or maybe pickleball wouldn't be quite so loud. Just a thought.
Very good point. Councillor McConnell?
Thank you. Both councillors actually echoed what I was going to question. The floor, you said both types of floors? What are we talking about here?
There are different ones. You could do a port solution, or you could do more like a glued on solution. They come at different price points. I think what we need to keep in mind is just the safety component itself is with the majority of users that have been using it in the last 3 years, and where some of these sports are headed, and an increase in demand for those sports. Having a floor that isn't a slippery surface, that is friendly on the joints, is something to consider that in the long run.
But what are these floors actually made out of?
Can I
Sure. Yeah.
Are we talking wood, or are we talking some kind
It's like
of?
wood, but that's not wood.
No, so that's just the finish on it. So there's like a padded solution. It's called Omni Speed is one of them, and another one is more of it would be poured. The Omni Speed is it's a material that is glued down onto the concrete floor. Another option that has been looked at is a poured solution, so it would actually be poured directly on top of the concrete that's there now. It is, in terms of thickness, I have that back in my office. I don't have it right in front of me. But it is a certain amount of thickness, but it still allows for a good bounce for sports that are happening there, but it is softer and has better traction, better grip than the concrete that's currently offered.
Okay, Mary mentioned the Sunday night concerts and possibly Shakespeare, and I think Valerie mentioned the fundraising dances that might possibly happen there with musicians. I've been in there in music as well, and it's pretty grim. But Valerie also mentioned something about curtains that would help to muffle the sound. I know when the trade show was in there, they rent curtains, I believe, from someplace. They go all the way around the rink. I have no idea what they cost, but perhaps we could look into a cost of something like that. If you're playing pickleball, I don't think it matters if your ball goes out, whether it hits a curtain or hits the backboard. And if that is a simple solution for sound dampening, that might be a good thing to look into. They also mentioned something about a movable stage, and with what we do, I don't know if that's something that we can actually leave in there or not. Excuse me, that they can bring out at short notice. But certainly the sound dampening curtain idea might be worth checking into cost wise.
Councillor Lockett?
So Sam, all this discussion is basically if you do the application and if we're successful, things can be modified, right?
I believe so.
So
I mean, I think,
let's see if we get. the funding
let's get the
first.
funding first and then we
Yeah.
can.
I think that's the first step. And then
Yeah.
also I think it's important to consider what council wants this facility to be. Again, if we are granted the funding, do you want it to be a space for indoor recreation? Or do you want it to be a concert venue? Can they be one and the same? I'm not sure, but I think that's a conversation that needs to happen at the table.
Show us some money first and then we'll go.
Now, keep in mind though, this is only half. We got to come up with half if we get approved of whatever we decide to do from some source, which could be another grant or right out of Councillor Kirkby's tax pockets over there.
I don't think we can't double dip on this, can we? No, it's either one or the other. For the funding, like you said, if we're unsuccessful with the first one, we can go for a Trillium grant, but we can't do both.
I don't believe so.
Is that a question for Matthew?
Well, that's not the way I read it.
Yeah. Matthew?
So the intention was, is it's one or the other, not both.
Okay. So we still need to raise. Councillor Campbell?
Just about the flooring again, I think, well, maybe I will ask Sam, because you've been talking to the skateboard people, so is the intention that when the snow is flying, they are going to be in there with their modular equipment, move it from the outdoor pad to indoors?
With the modular equipment, no.
No.
So I'll let Matthew speak to that one.
So I think that's certainly a conversation that council needs to have and understand, is that while they're called modular, they're not necessarily portable. And so, you know, you're talking pieces of equipment that weigh several hundred pounds, and we wouldn't be able to switch over from doing one night of doing indoor skate park and then another night of doing pickleball because of the weight of that equipment. So I think, you know, and to be perfectly honest, I'm not sure of many indoor skate parks in Eastern Ontario. But so it's, again, something that we have to come back and say, does council want an indoor skate park? Do they want an indoor concert venue? Do they want a multi-use sports thing? But it can't necessarily be all things to all people and still make it work for everybody.
Just to add on to that, the longevity of the equipment itself, it's not meant to be moved in terms of a portable sense that way. And speaking with City of Brockville staff, that's what that's the information that they gave us as well, is that it's good to be put away into storage for the winter and then put out for the season, but not to be moved around several times throughout the year.
So currently, it sounds like they bring things. These lovely volunteers come and bring things in trucks that they're using right now. So would they be expecting to be doing that at the Leo when it's winter? Or do we know? We don't know. I'm just trying to get to the flooring, and I've done a lot of grant applications, and kudos to you for jumping in on it. But I know that if you get pretty specific about, okay, well, this is what we want the money for, flooring, and then we turn around and say, well, we don't want flooring. Maybe my question is, when is the grant due?
Monday.
Okay.
Well, I mean, we have 1,218 hours used this year. None of them are skateboarders. Right? At this time.
To be
And to be fair, we're putting in a skateboard park.
Yeah.
As part of our recreation complex. So, you know, and they also said that a room this size would work for them. So they could probably find a spot, or maybe there's something that we're working on that could provide a spot in the future.
Okay.
for them.
Right.
Okay. Councilor Kirk?
Through you, Mayor Shankar, to be fair, they've never been offered that. I think
To be fair, they can rent a Leo at any time, just like anyone else.
if they can skateboard there, that's correct, right? I think the one thing here is we're voting on, like Councillor Lockett said, to approve an application, and everything else after is negotiable. I think that is the main thing here, correct?
Correct.
Put to motion.
Okay. All right, that's it. All in favor? Carrie, thank you. Thank you, Sam. Okay, there's no resolutions tonight, but there is one bylaw tonight. The motion is that bylaw 44-2024 being a bylaw to authorize the sale of approximately 33 acres of land located to the northeast of the town operations building by the corporation of the town of Prescott to 100080319 Ontario Inc. Be read and passed, signed by the mayor and clerk, and sealed by the seal of the corporation. Can I have a mover and seconder, please? Mr. Burton, Councillor Lockett. All in favor? Good. Pass, thank you. Okay, 15 is new business, so 15.1 was the municipality of St. Charles resolution of support recommendations for government regulation of nicotine pouches. Councilor Kirkby, you've got this.
Yep, through you, Mayor Shankar. So on May 15th, 2024, the municipality of St. Charles supported a resolution passed by Public Health, Sudbury and districts regarding the recommendations for government regulations of nicotine pouches. The long and short of it is the government allowed the sale of nicotine pouches across Canada and didn't put in a legal age. So it left it open for minors, individuals under 18 to purchase this product. And this product, this motion here is calling us to favor or to send a resolution of support, along with St. Charles to the federal government to ensure that these products are regulated for adults or people over 18. That being said, I do plan on coming back. This is actually a hot topic. I don't know if anybody's aware of these nicotine pouches around council, but these represented about $5,000 a month in our local convenience stores that were recently pulled off the shelf by the federal government because of the poor launch of products. What I can testify to is several long-term smokers switched to these pouches versus smoking. And they're no longer available. So they were moved to the pharmacies and they're not available in the pharmacies. And what this has done is almost made an underground nicotine pouch sales because you can't buy them in Ontario anymore. So that's different. I just want to give you the heads up that I plan on talking that because I have been talking to some of the convenience store owners and managers at a later date. But this resolution tonight is to send support to St. Charles, the municipality of St. Charles, in calling on the federal government to implement the age of 18 to be able to purchase these items. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you need to get a mover and a seconder? You're gonna move it? Seconder? Councilor Burton? All in favor? Carrie, thank you. Thank you, Councilor. All right, I don't have any notice of motion, but I have two proclamations tonight. First one is Ontario Libraries Week. Public Libraries Week. Whereas October is Ontario's Public Libraries Week from October 20th to the 26th, whereas this year's theme is Libraries for Life, and whereas Ontario Public Libraries Week is a wonderful time to celebrate all things library and appreciate the way libraries have adapted and grown to what the community needs. And whereas libraries and those that work within are the original search technology and provide access to information and resources, support literacy and education, promote lifelong learning, and serve as a community gathering space. And whereas libraries and those that work in them help people find homes, apply for grants, make appointments, and connect with long-lost friends and families. And whereas library programs that introduce our youth to its services are important. And whereas the Prescott Public Library offers many programs, including drop-in game nights, book clubs, story time with early on, and so much more. Therefore, be it resolved that the Corporation of the Town of Prescott does hereby proclaim the week of October 20th to 26th, 2024 as Ontario Public Libraries Week in the Town of Prescott, dated this 21st day of October, 2024. Second one is the Local Government Week. Whereas the week of October 20th to 26th, 2024 will be celebrated in Ontario as Local Government Week. And whereas local government is the level of government that is closest to the people, its programs and services have a significant impact on individuals' day-to-day activities and overall quality of life. And whereas Local Government Week intends to increase public awareness of the important roles local governments play in our communities, and whereas the municipal order of government performs functions that significantly impact the day-to-day life of citizens throughout the world, and whereas the Ontario Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing, along with organizations such as the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, AMO, acknowledge and celebrate the significant role that municipal governments play in helping to define the character, priorities, physical makeup, and quality of life of communities across Ontario. Therefore, be it resolved that the Corporation of the Town of Prescott does hereby proclaim the week of October 20th, 26th, 2024 as Local Government Week in the Town of Prescott, dated this 21st day of October, 2024. A busy week. Good vote. All right, Caitlin, is there anyone on the media side? No. Okay, so we're going to move into closed session. The motion is that council move into closed session at 7:53 p.m. to discuss matters pertaining to approval of closed session minutes, purchase and sale of property, identifiable individuals, and that the CAO, treasurer, director of administration, and clerk, deputy clerk, economic development officer, and manager of community services remain in the room for items 19.1 and 19.2. And that the CAO, treasurer, director of administration, and clerk, deputy clerk, and manager of community services remain in the room for item 19.3. Mover and seconder, please. Deputy Mayor Young, Councilor Lockett, all in favor? Okay, thank you. We'll start with 5 minutes. Okay. All right, welcome back. Rise and report. So during the closed session, we approved closed session minutes. We received information and we provided staff direction. 21 is confirming bylaw 45-2024. The bylaw 45-2024 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the council meeting held on October 21st, 2024, be read and passed, signed by the mayor and clerk, and sealed by the seal of corporation. Mover, please. Councilor Lockett, seconded by Councilor Young. All in favor? Okay, thank you. Last one is adjournment, that the meeting be adjourned to Monday, November 4th at 6 p.m. The time is now 9:44 p.m. Moved by Councilor Kirkby, seconded by Councilor Young. All in favor? Okay, thank you, everyone.
Justin, yes.